You see how hard I was breathing?
He's not doing it.
First of all, your brain forgot that hour. I would never. in a million
It was
years.
mobbed, wasn't it?
I would never in a million years.
It was packed today. That's a lie in Madison. It was mobbed.
Recording in progress.
Okay, Mayor, we are ready and live.
Welcome,
sorry,
mem-
let me just check YouTube, I apologize. I'm wearing a lot of hats today.
Like a DJ back there, spinning records.
I don't know how they do it after doing this now, I don't know how these DJs do this. Okay, we are live now.
Great. Welcome, members of the public. The committee is returning from its executive session. If I may now ask everyone for the flag salute. Rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Shoddy, could you kindly provide guidance for the hearing of citizens?
Yes, Mayor. Members of the public are now welcome to come up to the microphone to address the Township Committee. This is an opportunity for any member of the public to be heard. About issues which are not topics scheduled for public hearings tonight. Those present may step up to the microphone to be heard. If you are watching via Zoom, you may speak during any of the public comment sessions by following the Zoom instructions to raise your hand. Whether in person or online, when you are recognized to speak, please mind the following procedures. Please say your name, spell your last name, and give the name of your street. You do not need to give your street number. All public comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Rather than use any of your time answering questions, the Township Committee will wait until you finish speaking before responding. There are 2 public comment sessions on tonight's agenda. Each member of the public will be limited to 1 comment of up to 3 minutes during each public comment period. Written comments submitted to the Township Clerk before 3 p.m. today will be read during the public comment sessions. Written comments are subject to the same guidelines as oral comments. Duplicative written comments may be summarized rather than read in full according to guidelines issued by the New Jersey Division of Local Government Services. And Mayor, I am not aware of any written comments that have been received.
Thank you. And do we have anyone online?
Let me check for that. No, Mayor, we don't have anyone participating online.
Great, thank you. At this point in time, I now invite members of the public, should they desire to do so, to approach the mic.
Hello, my name is Susie Rowland.
My name is Deanna.
I live, my last name Rowland.
My last name Nanziakumar.
I live on Fairmount.
I was on Hesed Avenue.
Okay. We are current juniors at Chatham High School, where we are studying AP Environmental Science. Throughout this year, we've explored various environmental challenges and solutions, and one area we've taken a particular interest in is composting in our local community.
Through our research and coursework, we've learned how effective composting and thoughtful urban planning can benefit the environment. As we studied our town's composting efforts, we noticed some opportunities for improvement that we hope to bring to your attention tonight.
Currently, the composting process in our town relies heavily on individual households to compost at home and then transfer their organic material to designated collection centers. While this is a good first step, the strict requirements for what can be accepted make participation difficult for many residents. We believe this may be discouraging people from composting altogether, which is unfortunate given the potential benefits.
To better understand the local composting system, we visited the Tanglewood Lane Composting and Collection Center. We've included some photos to help illustrate our observations, which we can show if necessary. During our visit, we noticed that the facility appeared to be somewhat disorganized, with compost paths left open and a noticeable presence of litter and plastic. Unfortunately, these conditions can attract pests and pose risks to local biodiversity.
One of our major concerns is the center's proximity to a large pond. When excess organic matter enters nearby water bodies, it can lead to nutrient overload and contribute to algal blooms. These blooms, as seen in the bright green water in one of our photos, are signs of a process called eutrophication. This occurs when nutrients like nitrates run off into the water, promoting the growth of algae and bacteria that consume oxygen and can create hypoxic dead zones, areas where aquatic life cannot survive.
One way Chatham could increase composting is by making it a bit easier and more convenient for everyone to participate. For example, offering curbside compost pickup would save the people the extra trip to a collection site and by encourage more households hosting community workshops, offering discounted compost bins, or working with local schools and groups to spread the word could really help build excitement around composting.
Also, as we are both members of NHS, we could talk with students in the club who might be interested in volunteering to set up compost bins or to help with any manual labor in the area. With just a few small changes, we believe more people in Chatham would be inspired to take part and make a positive impact on our environment. Composting reduces waste, methane emissions, and directly combats climate change, while also providing opportunities for jobs and collaboration. We are not asking for changes overnight, and we would just like to get the town thinking about composting. We would give it our best effort as we go forward, to raise awareness about composting, and we know how important this change can be for our town and environment.
Thank you so much for your time and for considering our observations. We are excited about the potential for improvement and look forward to working together toward a cleaner, more sustainable Chatham. Thank you.
Thank you. Susie, I'm sorry you didn't get your name? Yes.
Dia?
I'm sorry?
Dia?
Dia. Okay, Susie and Dia. Well, thank you very much for.
If I could jump in, I
Yeah.
want to thank you, that was very interesting. I'm embarrassed to say I didn't know we had a composting bin at Tanglewood.
Yeah.
Does
More than
does
a bin,
anybody
it's
else
huge.
know?
It's
Really?
piles.
I better start paying attention. Clearly I don't do the recycling in-house. So that's great, that's great to hear that, and I appreciate, all the, information you provided. I think that'll be worth, the committee considering some options, think about what we can do. But I also appreciate your willingness to, help educate the community, like myself, who now knows, and I guess I'm wondering why people, because they pay for services, and if we've got the composting, assuming we can fix it so it's not spilling over and there's not plastics there. Yeah, I'm wondering why people are paying for services when they could just use that resource and we just need to fix it up a little bit, it sounds like.
Yeah, the beginning of the season where the DPW actually can deliver compost to your home is referred to as, it's when the basketball tournament starts, and it's referred to as mulch madness when the orders start coming in around the town. But a couple comments, if you don't mind. Are you done?
Yeah, I'm just trying to piece together what you said. I'm thinking of the.
Are you with me, the mulch madness as opposed to March
Yeah,
Madness?
no, that part
All right, I got you over here.
I'm thinking about the collection of the stuff that becomes the compost, but anyway.
I'm a DPW fan, what can I say? Firstly, very well prepared and very well presented. Thank you very much for the time and effort you put into that. And not to add to your collection time, but the Environmental Commission meets tomorrow night, as it turns out. And if possible, they're 7:30 in this building, actually down at the Senior Center. If you'd like to do that same presentation, I think that would be a heck of an ally in what you seek. So if you have the time and the ability to do that, you're well practiced now. And the fact of the matter is that may be of benefit as well.
Well, thank you again. I would say that all of us in varying capacities are stewards of the environment. So I appreciate your bringing an awareness on with regard to the mulch facility there and the concerns about its impact to the surrounding area. That would certainly be something that we'll have a better understanding of, perhaps a discussion with DPW to potentially address that if that's viewed as a real concern. But thank you. Wonderful. I encourage you to come back.
Yeah, I know. No.
He's having a hard time multitasking.
Yeah. He's got that bead of sweat going down right.
Would this be a good time to comment on a topic that we talked about last week, Bobby? That's, we'll be coming,
Joe, if you want to wait 2 minutes, we have you on the agenda.
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's on the
Great.
coming up.
If there's no one else from the public would like to come before the microphone, I will then close the first hearing of citizens, and we'll move on to reports. Mr. Shoddy, if you'd kindly tackle the items at hand here.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. So we will start off from the top, since we don't have any department heads here. Most of the items I can speak to and or are self-explanatory. So we'll go in order, starting off with administration. For the, because we do have a member of our open space committee here, I will suggest that we now bring him up, Mayor, and have
Wonderful.
him address one of the discussion items which is listed, is the Fensky property. Mr. Brazilian, come on up. You could join us up here. Mayor, where do you want?
What he said,
Yeah.
yeah, that's more comfortable.
All right, did you want me to speak for a minute or two, or how would you like
Yes,
to do
please,
it?
yeah.
Okay.
And just before, so for the benefit of the committee, I did forward the materials. They were not included with the agenda packet on Friday. We received them, I think, yesterday. So we're starting the conversation today, and so Mr. Brazilian could talk us through the materials. I just sent it to them just as the meeting started.
Thanks, Joe Bazzarellian, the Chair of the Open Space Committee, Open Space Advisory Committee of Chatham Township. And well, the background on this Fensky property, it's public. It's the 18-acre parcel of land on Southern Boulevard that kind of connects Southern Boulevard, stretches all the way back to the Great Swamp. It is right next to Nash baseball fields, and it's kind of across the street from just the edge of a Fairmount Country Club, for everyone's context. The township spent at least 10 years trying to preserve it. It was in private hands. Township viewed it as a potentially valuable asset for a number of different reasons to hold. It was previously zoned as commercial, where maybe a small commercial building could have gone, but then the public would never have had any access to it, and the township wouldn't have had any options to use it. So that's a little bit of background. So as the open space has been discussing this, and thanks to the township for preserving it, for working on this for 10 years, we've had some time to think about ways to go about possibly using the property. So by far and away, the number one recommendation, the most important recommendation of the Open Space Committee is to hear input and create a simple stewardship and use plan for the property. That way, when there's a plan that gathers feedback, the decision makers are able to evaluate all the different feedback, to contextualize it, to understand different people's values. People have all different values, of course, and also it helps the town, make a well-informed decision about something. And when you create an overall stewardship and use plan, you'll have different balances and sensitivities in that, so that if one use is ultimately decided upon, that can be factored in with other sensitivities. So that's really the number one recommendation, is just listen, create a stewardship and use plan that then can be shared. It can be shared with the public. It certainly should be shared internally, and also that also helps just in practical terms. If there's one loud voice or two loud voices really pushing for something, the committee gets to sit back and say, well, we've been evaluating this. There are other ideas. There's other values at stake. And so that can be balanced. So it's not all whether you as an individual make the right or wrong decision. You actually have fallback on some information. So that's the number one recommendation. So we've just created, and the Environmental Commission and the Open Space Committee just collaborated on the first draft stewardship use plan. It's a working draft. It's not meant to have a final answer. It's just meant to gather the input that we've heard so far, and I could review that, but I don't know that it's, I could review that really quickly, but I think I could just leave it there otherwise. I don't mean to be pressing for one use or another, just that all the values of the land be factored in, and all values of the people be factored in before deciding on a plan. So I could stop there, or I could just, in 2 minutes, maybe summarize the kinds of things we've heard without kind of leaning to one view or the other. Maybe I could do that. Okay.
That would be great.
Okay. So in this first draft, or the first leader thoughts from the Environmental Commission, who had a meeting and discussed this. The first thing they did was review the diversity of native species, native animals and plant species. I should say that, actually let me go back to 2016. So and those So the Open Space Committee created reasons for why to preserve this property, and they covered a gamut. It's of significant size. It's connected with natural resources and with recreation. It helps protect water. There's clean water. There's 1,500 feet of stream that goes through the property and a lot of wetlands. That helps naturally soak in the rainwater, send it to the Great Swamp Refuge, in the Passaic River, and into our drinking water. Species diversity I mentioned. It's in the Chatham Township and Morris County Greenway. It is right next to a recreation field, two important recreation fields, and there may be some useful extensions from those fields in one capacity or another. It's just an excellent location for passive activities, walking trails, exercise trails. There's other kinds of passive. Also, just its location. It's so central, and it's right on the main road. It's right near the town center. Not all the residents are within a 5-minute drive, but I think a large number of residents of the township are. And there's sidewalk and shoulders accessible there. So it's a really wonderful thing that we preserved it. So that's the Open Space Committee's thoughts. Environmental Commission, just jumping back to them, I talked about their nice vernal pools, which attract a lot of wildlife and are great for education. I'll get into that. They envision potentially a meandering path with educational signage where residents can learn about the value of native and invasive plant species, pollinators, which help fuel our food supply. One of the big passive recreation opportunities that a lot of people enjoy is bird watching, wildlife watching. It's definitely a great place for that. There's lots and lots of native plants that attract birds. They offered an idea of fenced-in gardens. Deer, excessive numbers of deer eat a lot, and helpful to have some examples of what we would have in a normal deer environment. A rain garden and others. Let's see, we've heard a proposal that there's a pain point at Nashfield on busy days of baseball games where there's not enough parking. So that's certainly a consideration. A potential partial use of the Fensky property. Of course, the good part about having an overall plan is one could say, okay, if there's parking, what's the best way to situate it? What's the least environmental damage? And maybe even parking actually can be helpful to some properties because it will bring people to a property, help them enjoy other benefits of the property. The excess, for example, the excess overflow parking at Shunpike Field, 2 lots down, there's now a hiking trail when you were mayor, which you helped put through. So now more people are aware of the hiking trail there because they're there for Shunpike Field games, and they just happen to be parking there. So that's a way of looking at something holistically. It's an example. We've heard of some residents interested in the construction of a dog park. We've heard some residents, I mentioned that. Oh, one idea, former committee member, was, where should we had a township gazebo underneath the power lines. Well, do we have a place in the township that's not Green Village for places like small ceremonies, small concerts, some community gathering? That could be anywhere, but maybe this is a location for it, given it's the beautiful surroundings, given its location. And as you all know, the township is planning a federally funded trail construction which would connect Lewanika Reservation at Green Village back through behind Nashfield, and having the Fensky property there could give more optionality to get people into and out of that trail. So again, there may be other ideas. People may choose to emphasize these ideas differently, and that's great. That's the purpose of having a plan. It's a repository for everybody to be heard and considered. So, well, I'll just stop there.
Mr. President, thank you very much for that overview and sharing some of the preliminary findings from the Open Space Committee, the Advisory Committee. I have some thoughts, but I certainly would like to open up to members of the committee. They'd like
Yeah, I have a thought or two,
questions or opine.
if you don't mind.
Certainly.
First, thank you, Joe, for that, and thank you for getting us kind of aboard on a plan, and that being, pulling together the idea of stewardship for this property and its surroundings and how it impacts not just a bird or a parking lot or a baseball player. Do you feel there is, let me rephrase. I have a question in the engagement of everybody involved, you know, and your recommendation in preparation of our stewardship and the inputs, based upon your experience, which is vast in the open space here in this area, to help engage that. Would it be best for a advisory subcommittee on this stewardship stewardship development? Would it be okay? We get someone from rec, somebody from open space, somebody from environmental commission, or others that may be. Do you have any comments or thoughts upon enlisting engagement?
I think that's a great idea. I think if anyone who has strong feelings, if there's a way to reach out to them. I don't know what method would be used to reach out to the township.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you guys would have some ideas. From web posting to a blurb in an email that goes out, or an online posting on the township website. I think it'd be great to have just an input session. It could happen during an open space committee, a public open space committee, or two. Yeah, because a lot of times decisions get made because we don't reach all 10,000 people in the town. So if there are ideas for how to reach out and to schedule one or two listening sessions, I think that would be great. In a friendly, civil manner. I think. Do you think that's a good idea too?
Yeah. Well, I guess my question is really how can the committee support what you're after, right?
Thank you.
And certainly from a personal level, I'm very supportive of coming up with inputs from all, because although we all think we have the best of ideas, putting it all in a bowl and mixing it together under some kind of and creating a plan from that, I think is something that is a very good approach. So thanks for those inputs.
So we've had some over the years some good public open space committee meetings where people have been invited and just shared input. That might be a forum.
Okay.
That way that would be collected by an advisory capacity and not a decision-making body.
Yes.
So there's just less pressure, more open discussion. I mean, there are other ideas like have some big questionnaire, or I think it could be easiest stuff like this just to hear directly from people. And all of you gather input from people you listen to, because you're out in the community a lot. So you should be able to go in here and say, I've heard this, here's who's telling me this, we should go out and have a meeting with those people to see just how interested they are. So I don't have a systematic way of
no, any
doing
inputs
it,
are good. That's the whole idea, is how
yeah.
do you get the input
Well, I think
ask for it?
QR codes. Everyone uses a QR code.
That's good.
We could create a QR code that says, what are your thoughts on, the use of the Fensky space? And everybody scans their phone and it'll take you right to a site, and you can we can have 10 or 12 options, maybe rank them, or, just some kind of a method for people to give their input, and then put an other. That just, while you're at ShopRite or while you're waiting, you just can scan and we can gather that information. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think there's a big education about what it can be also,
Yeah.
which is really important for
Yeah.
people to understand that prior to them weighing in on what it should be.
Sure.
Right.
Yes.
And I guess in reading sort of the reports and knowing the players involved who are strongly opposed to any sort of parking, I think, and I'm not trying to get into the weeds of this yet, but I do question making great use of land if nobody can access it. So how do we actually address that topic secondarily, so that people can actually enjoy the land in any capacity? Because if you can't get there, there's no point in doing anything that everybody wants to. So I think that's a secondary kind of issue that needs to be somehow addressed.
Oh yeah, we definitely want people to be able to enjoy the land, and we want to have people with outside options, and we want it to be lovely. And I always felt, and maybe we have some way of reaching public. Is there? I don't even know if there's a monthly email or a set of web posting or some way, just to put where to post that QR code. We're not sticking things up all around town, but there's something that people could sign up. I know there's police alerts,
Right.
but it'd be great if there's some way that, other than people having to come to the website, that we can help people get engaged who are really busy and are not very engaged.
So there are ways, there are things that we're still working on, work in progress. The administrative team does have a newsletter that pushes content out, content on our website that can be pushed out as well. Social media, obviously, to the extent possible, we can get the media involved in pushing things and sharing on, social media channels like community forum and so forth. But I do think that Jen's suggestion of, signs around town that aren't not expensive, that, solicits feedback with an easy access way, I think is a terrific idea. So.
As far as communications, I think by graciously accepting our invitation to come speak here, that the workshop is the first step to what ultimately I think should be a top-down and bottoms-up communication plan, ultimately an action plan to decide on what ultimately becomes the use or uses of that lot. I think a number of great ideas have been mentioned. This platform certainly is a start of getting things out in the public, transparency in terms of information and types of things that are on the collective minds of the committee. We could certainly consider doing press releases, put information on the website. Documents are periodically put on the website, and certainly this could be yet another example of information that's proffered up there for the public, at least those who are interested in learning more about it. And of course, the workshop meetings are venues where people can come and share their thoughts. So I think we can certainly fashion together a pretty rich communication plan, and as I said, bottoms up, tops down, and we'll certainly work on probably vocalizing that and putting something, pen to paper on how we'd like to do that. I would also say that the notion of a management and stewardship plan is a fully embraced idea. I think it will be a way for us to not lose sight of our North Star on what we want to do with this, and yet afford us an ability to, in an organized way, gather information, because there will be left field ideas, and there will be ideas that certainly won't be permissible or allowed given the environmentally sensitive nature of the lot. The data collection effort will be another big piece of it, and I sort of love the QR code. I always call it QSR, but yeah, QR code as a vital component to gathering that. And a community in the queue is modest. He's liaising with the open space, so he's been instrumental in shepherding this forward. It is, I think this is a potentially high value lot. It's you mentioned some of these things, but it's got significant frontage on Southern Boulevard. It's a major corridor road for us in the township. We've got a couple things coalescing together, and it's quite timely. We've got the Nash Connector Trail project in place, and I think there's another trail that's being considered on the other side of it. It abuts Nashfield, which is a well-used athletic field. Their needs are known, and we do not have some services. Dog park was mentioned, so I think there's tremendous opportunity for a thoughtful action plan for this lot. It's 18 acres, but understandably, the lion's share of it is
environmentally constrained,
as Community Developer was mentioned, not accessible unless you're going to wear duck boots and whatnot. So, but there is dry land, and there are portions of it that, within the guidelines of the DEP and certainly your council and Environmental Commission's council, we can certainly do something that I think would be valued, a valued service, a valued amenity to the community. So, Mr. Bisraelian, I thank you for getting the ball rolling here. I'm excited to see what comes forth here. And I think everyone else is.
Well, thanks everyone for.
Yeah, I just want to add, I thank you for all the work on that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and the Environmental Commission and I just worked on it together.
Yeah.
It's just a draft. But
Yeah, I understand that. I would say, especially given the environmental sensitivity of the land, is if you're able to hold a joint open space environmental commission meeting. I think that would be interesting, because
Sure.
then we get,
Definitely.
feedback across the board.
That would be great, yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah, I said open space committee, but didn't mean to give any bias toward the committee that I'm part of. Yeah, I think if two committees or more did a joint session, there'd be more outreach to the
Yeah,
community, that
absolutely.
would be happening. Yeah,
That would be great, thank you.
yeah, okay. Yeah, all right, thanks for your time, you're good. It's really
Thank you.
important that you're all giving this thought in a systematic way with open ears.
And thank you for staying the course on that one, because you've been
Yeah.
talking about that property for a long time.
Yeah, well, people
and you
before me-
stewarded that, yeah.
Maybe since the Great Swamp was first composed as a jigsaw puzzle in the 60s, this parcel has probably been thought of as something worth preserving.
Very interesting.
So it was way before me.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Mr. Shoddy, on to the next item.
Thank you, Mayor. So under administration, there's 2 items that are expected at the upcoming meetings. The first one is it's listed as the COLA resolution, the cost of living adjustment resolution. That's an annual resolution we've been doing to adjust the salaries for the non-union employees. There were, so I don't get into details in public, but there were a few exceptions to the rule of thumb, which was that what the pattern has been the last couple of years, which is a 3% increase for all the employees. However, as I, again, would like to clarify that there were some exceptions to that for some, some other reasons. And then the one also, there's the police chief who has a separate standalone agreement as well. So his salary is just based off of that agreement. So these are all, were incorporated into the budget as well.
Yeah, so I was,
Pardon me, I'm going way off the limb here, but can I address the 2 young ladies that are in the room still?
That's up to the man. I mean, we've moved
I just kind of had something to say. I've been in their shoes as a young adult as well too. You're welcome to stay the duration of the entirety of the meeting, but you might be in a position of feeling this is pretty awkward. Can I leave? You're also welcome to leave at any time. We invite you to stay for the duration, of course. I just wanted to put that out there because I wouldn't know what to do without it.
You live for this stuff, right?
I know.
Yeah. You're eating this up.
We're gonna go home and continue the conversation.
Sorry.
No, it's absolutely.
I've been doing mad scramble through the material, and it's
Yes.
been hectic, so I apologize, I didn't ask
No
you in
problem.
advance. But did you have a before and after? Because I did see one, I saw a spreadsheet with all the numbers, but I didn't see a before and after, because I was.
Not a before and after, but the before, I could send you the 2024 resolution. There were some individuals that are not included on this list, and the reason is if they were hired after January 1st, then of this year, because all goes retroactive to January 1st. So looking at last year's resolution and this year's resolution, there may be some people that are on it now that were not on it last year because they were hired after January 1st, and then there are some people that are not on it this year that were were not on it last year because they were hired after January 1st of this year as well.
Yeah.
So,
It was
but
more
other
so
than that,
where
it
you
was-
had the anomalies, I couldn't get a sense of what that looked like. So, yeah, as best you can.
I will, I could follow that up.
Thank you.
Yep, absolutely.
And committee, when you mean those that are not the 3%, right? Anyone that's not.
Yeah, because everybody else is
Yeah.
2%. I don't need the before and after on the 3%.
Okay.
It was the anomalies.
Okay,
Thank
yes,
you.
absolutely.
Is there anyone else? Mr. Shoddy?
Okay, thank you. The next one is the Housing Element and Fair Share Plan. Just received the draft from our planner over the weekend. I forwarded that to the Affordable Housing Committee, just to kind of, for the benefit of the public and to recap for the governing body, what the next steps are. So hopefully, gonna try and schedule an Affordable Housing Subcommittee meeting before the Planning Board meeting. The Planning Board meeting is on January, say the 16th is January 16th. So if we can get a meeting with the Affordable Housing Committee, just to review this plan, although the plan largely reflects all the items that have been discussed thus far, then the Planning Board will have essentially their hearing on adopting that element of the master plan, because that's what it is really, is at the end of the day, it's a part of the master plan, and this is within their jurisdiction. And then from there, that will be the opportunity, because it is a planning board process, that is the opportunity for the public to weigh in, to learn more about it, but we will put more information on our website about that draft once it's on file with the planning board, which I believe is later this week. After the 16th, then on the 24th is where you would take action to, quote, endorse the plan. And our attorney, affordable housing attorney, will prepare that resolution for you. So I wanted to put that on here just as a reminder that it's coming up and to see if there's any questions or concerns.
In terms of providing the highlights, I'm just looking at the schedule.
Sure.
That's the next meeting. So planning board is not, you have to be in person. Residents have to come in person.
Correct.
We're not broadcasting. So, it's, you know, and then we have our endorsement, which is the end of the month, and then June 30th is the deadline.
Correct.
So it doesn't give residents really ample opportunity to participate. So I guess my only comment is if we want to summarize now the highlights of the plan, so that residents, if they want to attend the planning board, at least have some indication of what's on the plan. And we kind of, you know, high level mentioned, I know one of the articles in the press kind of misstated what present value was, I mean, not present value, present
Present
need.
need.
So I just worry about residents being confused and not exactly knowing what's out there. And if you don't want to go over it, I suppose I could highlight it, but it's up to you.
No, either one is fine. I mean, I'm just trying to recall the guidance or sort of the advice that I think the mayor, you and I, about whether now at this point is appropriate to talk about it because it's still in draft form for the planning board. As far as the plan itself goes, but the kind of the high level numbers, which we discussed before, certainly you can talk about that now.
You mean high level meeting, the 141 is
Yeah,
our
those
perspective
specific numbers, yes,
need?
because we talked about those already. Those are.
Yeah, well, resident had also asked about what that meant last time, so it was mentioned. So we're saying that now before it's before the planning board, we're not comfortable?
No, it's the draft plan itself. Those numbers, certainly we've talked about them, but you know, I haven't gone through the whole plan because there's more to the plan than just those
absolutely.
numbers. That's all I'm getting at. I didn't know if
Okay.
You wanted me to speak about all of those, but as far as the prospective need and the rehab numbers, we've been talking about those several meetings. There's no reason we can't discuss those now.
I guess to play it safe, I will repeat what I said
Yes.
last time. Yeah, I'll repeat what I said last time. So the housing element and fair share plan, yeah, I haven't had a chance to look at it either, but I can't imagine it's gonna divert much from what was discussed previously, but it'll just give you an indication for the residents in case they have an interest in attending and giving their input at the June 16th planning board meeting. But our prospective need is 141 units. Our present need is 30 units, and our present need does not mean what we have to build now, which is what I last saw in one of the papers. Present need means it's a rehabilitation number, and we would participate in Morris County's program for rehabilitation. So I'm not sure there's anything really actively that this committee is going to need to do with respect to that, but you know, that'll be a little bit better defined in the plan. But I just want to make sure people understood present need. For the prospective need of 141 units, what that's looking like, based on that number is then adjusted by a vacant land analysis, and based on the vacant land analysis, the expectation is that we need to build 4 units, which really is 3 units plus a credit of 1. And then the rest of the units would be part of our unmet need. And then in order, you still have to provide in your housing element and fair share plan for that unmet need, and that would be through an overlay zone, which would allow greater density, but still within a reasonable, you know, limit, something that's kind of consistent with what the community is, you know, what's in the community, for an overlay zone in the ShopRite Ace Hardware area. So that was what was discussed in the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee. That was what was mentioned in the prior meeting, and that's what I'm saying now. So for more information, go to the planning board on June 16th.
And we will put the draft, once it's filed with the board, before the board hearing, we will put it on the website, so anybody can then review it in advance of the meeting.
Great, thank you.
Mr. Shoddy, is it the intention to get, so the planning board meeting's the 16th, you'll get the documents up by the 6th, which,
I'm sorry?
by the 6th of June,
Thereabouts,
which is roughly.
Thereabouts, I just want to confirm what date the attorney had indicated, or the planner and attorney indicated would be the appropriate time to do that, but as soon as possible.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Sure.
Whenever you're ready, Mr. Shoddy, on to,
Thank you.
what would you like to tackle next?
Sure. So that's all for under administration, Mayor. Moving on under clerk. No legislation anticipated. Report was received. Any questions on that report? Okay. Construction and building. We received a report from our construction official. He did include a spreadsheet that, and this is just to start the conversation. He unfortunately had 2 prior commitments this evening. So I did ask him to provide a cover letter for that spreadsheet as well. If you haven't had a chance to review it, I know there's a lot of material in that memo and the spreadsheet. But essentially, the summary is updating the UCC fees, which are adopted and codified in our ordinances in a number of ways. One primarily is to make sure that we are competitive and comparable to surrounding communities. 2, that items that should be charged for but are not in our ordinances that allow us to charge for them are now included. And I want to stress that the reason is to make sure that it's not subsidized and borne by the taxpayers, right? If people are doing work, developers are doing work, that those developers and those people doing the work on their home are paying the fees associated with the work involved with their permit. So it's not being subsidized by the town budget. And right now we do have some items, because over the years, the state changes what is specified, even just things like technology and solar panels, for example, have evolved in the fee structure. So there are certain elements that UCC allows us to charge for that are not included, and so he highlighted those. And then there are some that just could be clarified a little bit more, and then there are others that either might be obsolete or can be combined in other areas. So Mr. Daniels did provide a memo. If there's any questions between now, we can workshop this again in July. If there are any questions on that now, though, be happy to hear those. I think he did a great job by putting together our current fee structure, really breaking down. I mean, this is a yeoman's task to do what he did, because different towns write them differently. They put them in different locations in their ordinances. He broke down not only what Chatham's current fee structure is, what he suggests it should be, but also a comparison of, I believe, 3 other municipalities, and there, as best as he could, find the comps to those fees. So a lot to review. I reviewed it with him. Nothing in there, though, is out of the ordinary. I should also note that the UCC state puts caps on what you can charge anyway, so we're not going above what's permitted by state law anyways.
Thank you, Mr. Shoddy. I have a quick question.
Yes.
Just with regard to any changes in fees, would you characterize all of them as modest to
Yes.
slight increase, or is there anything significant that may catch the attention of?
No, where you'll see like significance is anywhere that, or at least in my opinion, where you'd see significance is in areas where it's measured based off of square footage, right? Let's say certain improvements, because not everything is measured, and not all the permits are structured, or I'm sorry, the fees for the permits are structured in way of square footage. So in a place where somebody's making a sizable change to their property, and that calculation is then based on square footage, it might be a little bit higher, but there was no uniform go down the line and increase everything a percentage. It really was a line by line analysis of what is the state maximum, what are surrounding towns around us charging, are we in line with those, does the structure of how you would account for that make sense? In other words, is it a square footage thing, is it a one-time thing? So I don't think there are anything significant, but it is a good housekeeping ordinance that really should have been done many, many years ago and has not been updated in a very long time.
Thank you, Mr. Shoddy.
Mayor, so I know you all need some time to review this. Does it make sense that we would workshop this again in July before putting together a draft, or would you like to see a draft of the ordinance for the next workshop meeting?
I would like to defer to the next workshop, because I
Okay.
think it came out at the 11th hour, and I did not have I confess, I didn't have time to print that and read it.
Okay.
I have not seen it. I don't know how other members have, if they had a chance to get around to it.
Okay. Next item, engineering. We are expecting 3 resolutions for a road resurfacing. This is, the 3 resolutions are all related to one project, and that is the municipal aid project that we received right now. And the 3 are for the settings of catch basins and other infrastructure within the roads. The other resolution would be for the striping, and the 3rd resolution would be for the actual paving. These are all through the Morris County Cooperative, so we wouldn't have to go through the bidding. This is to at least get that one road out of the way, and then we would, later on after the capital budget is approved, we would be tackling our municipal roads. Any questions or concerns about those? And I believe the drafts were included in the agenda? Okay.
I do have a question about the
yes.
engineering,
The report? Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
So the project that finally is going through, oh my goodness, the Safe Streets to School.
Yes.
Routes
Safe
to
routes to
School.
schools.
The Lafayette Spring Street project. So the plan is to do that in the summer, which of course Colony Pool is open in the summer. There's really no good time, because you wanna do it when school is out, because it's safe routes to school. And then Colony Pool. So if there's any way to manage that to minimize impact, I don't know what that it looks like, but,
So typically we'll have a pre-con meeting before any major project like this. So we would have a pre-construction meeting. It'll involve the police department, DPW. We can certainly involve our pool manager, but our traffic safety officer would be involved as well. And notice would go out to folks in the area. So we will do our best. I think you've got some very talented and skilled professionals in that group between our engineer, public works, and police to try and come up with something that's as safe as possible. If we need to make any sort of accommodations or adjustments for that, we'll certainly do our best. And
now
we'll
I
let you
forget,
know.
we're doing the sidewalks. Were we doing the road at this point, or did we push that?
I don't think we're doing the road on this one yet. No, we pushed that, I believe we pushed that off.
Okay. Thank you.
Because we weren't sure when this was gonna end up coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that road needs resurfacing.
Yes. And I mean, this may be an opportunity then, and I'll discuss that with our engineer at my next one-on-one meeting with him, to then reconsider the 2025 repaving list, if it makes sense to account for that road, or if it can wait till next year.
Yeah, that would be an efficient
Yeah,
time to do
I'm
it.
not so sure I would do it against the ones that we already approved.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of out there on the public record. I think we agreed to it. I mean, it's, trust me, somebody that drives a lot on that road back and forth, and I'd love to see it repaved, but it can wait in my mind.
Sorry for the pause, just
One person's.
taking a note. Okay. But anything else on the engineering? Okay, moving on. Finance, we have a resolution to incorporate a grant that we received for Clean Communities. That was not part of the budget because we got notified after the budget was introduced and adopted. So this would be a routine resolution to do that. Any questions on the finance report? Okay. We do, just as a reminder, have capital due for adoption at the next meeting. Police, we received a report. Any questions there? No legislative action anticipated. All right, Public Works, expecting 3, or rather, I should say 4 resolutions for the upcoming meetings. The first one is a resolution to award a contract to a vendor to do Nash Playground. That would be at obviously the next meeting, unless you want to push that off more, but by that point, it will have been at least 1 month since we posted the plans. I know at the last workshop meeting, there was a request from the governing body to post the plans on our website and solicit feedback. so that by the next meeting, it will have been a full month that it would be up. No feedback has been received so far. I did receive some feedback on Mountain View, just from, I'll go out there, talk to parents that are there, just kind of get their feedback. So I did get some feedback that we'll try to incorporate over at Nash that I thought was helpful.
Great. Well, thank you for doing that, Mr.
Yep. And then appointing new employees, we finally found 2 new prospective employees for Public Works that can start soon. It was very tough. It's hard finding some. We found one, if you recall, not too long ago, but that employee ended up rescinding their acceptance. So we've been on the hunt, and we did find 2, one for the WPC and one for DPW. So we'll have resolutions to confirm those appointments, and then a resolution to authorize the auctioning of surplus equipment. Minor items, I believe it was included in the list as well, or in your agenda packet. Any issues or concerns with those? Okay. Tax collector, there was an updated report that was sent for last month because the timing of our workshop meetings and when the books get reconciled. So you got a corrected report for the last month and a new report for this month. I believe the clerk sent those out yesterday. Nothing significant there. Any questions? Okay. And then finally, under tax assessor, the tax assessor provided a report. There's no legislative items there. After the report was received, I believe it was, he and I received an update from the state. Our tax maps, the revised tax maps, have finally been approved. So then they can give us formal approval of our tax reval agreement. So next steps with the tax reval that was ordered by the county, I'm gonna repeat that, is a public education on the process and what residents can expect from inspectors that come out to the field. I was discussing briefly with the mayor, and I discussed this with the tax assessor. I'm pushing that we push the mailing until August, end of August, and the public input sessions into September, so that way nobody over the summer is missing them. Now, we could do it earlier and offer it by video anyways, but that's up to you. I mean, we could do a input session with the Zoom and YouTube, so anybody that's on vacation could participate, or we just leave it until September. But, the issue with September is now it's also close to when schools start, and people might have back to school nights and a whole bunch of things. But I do think that may be the best, unless there's any disagreement.
Well, I respect the sensitivity about people being out of town, perhaps towards the month of August. I also want to just make certain we provide almost more than adequate venues for which members of the public can inform themselves on this significant task, and are afforded enough opportunities to voice your opinions or make recommendations. I'm not sure, but it is a town-wide significant endeavor. It's non-trivial, so I want to make sure that people are comfortably in advance made aware of it, understand what's going on, why it's happening, and I would imagine our professional will be here to speak to all that. But we'll make certain. I think we should also make certain we put that information on the website as far as leading information towards what's forthcoming.
So the letter with the brochure, we'll put that on the website. It'll go out to every home. As far as the dates, I'm thinking at least one of those sessions would be at a governing body meeting, if that makes sense. So it could either be the September workshop or the September regular meeting. That way, the reval firm can also address you. It's on YouTube, it's on Zoom. So people have that. We could piggyback off one of our meetings if you'd like, and then do another one at another time. So people have 2 chances to ask the reval firm any questions and address any concerns that they might have.
And the notion the mailings would be in residents' mailboxes towards the end of August.
Correct. We probably mail them the 2nd or 3rd week of August, so that way they're there by the 4th week and have a couple weeks to put it on their calendar.
I'm very much out of the loop. I'm sure we can.
There's no loop. There's no loop.
No, I meant about the school system. I would probably target it to make sure people are back in time, like when
Yeah, I believe it's typically in the 20s. I only know that because of the colony pool schedule that I was working on.
Right.
So that
Sequence.
exactly. That's why I was saying I think we mail it out like the second or third week, and then
Yeah, I guess,
you know
just
it
kinda
would.
like time it, cause that way, people will obviously be back.
Yeah, it's usually like the 20. At least
Usually
since
before
last year, it's
Labor
been
Day
like
is when schools
21
start.
to 24 is sometime around there. I do have that date, and yeah, that's when we want to target.
And the recordings will be available so people can watch them, and if they need to submit a question
Correct.
over email or anything, they're available to
Yep.
do that too.
Yeah, and the letter will have, you know, some people may not want to come to the meeting. The letter will have contact information as well, so they can direct their questions, you know, much more individualized and hopefully get a response, and then these input sessions won't even be needed. But we'll do them anyways.
Do we want to, just take a look at kind of putting, not just a post on the website, but, you know, like, offering them an opportunity to comment or something, or send in a written response through the website, since they're like maybe reading it there?
Yeah, the letter will explain the whole process, and there's a brochure, and then in that will be contact, and those will both be on the website, and in there is contact information for the reval firm and the tax assessor, so that way they can contact them directly to answer, get any questions they've got on the process. And that is it, Mayor and Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Shoddy. Shall move on to the second hearing of citizens for this evening. Mr. Shoddy, do we have anyone online?
No, Mayor, we don't have anyone online. Actually, I'm sorry. I think we do have one attendee. Okay, we have one attendee, but I don't see any hands raised. I'll give him a second. Okay, no, Mayor.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Shoddy. For this second hearing of citizens, I now invite any members of the public to come forward, should they desire to do so.
Sure.
Anything else on your mind?
Closing thoughts?
How do we do?
Anything else? If that's the case, I now close the second hearing of citizens. I now seek a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We are now adjourned. Good evening.